This is a sneak peek of what your artwork might look like if you do what I did. Remember, it's going to be a lot easier if you don't do maybe the river, maybe you do an oval for the lake and you put in your dabbing cut papers that way. So just some ideas. You can do a completely different scene. It's whatever you want to do. I'm just giving you one idea.
Hello boys and girls, so today you're going to do a collage. You're going to need to start with a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper it's a smart idea to write your first name and your last name. Then flip it over. That's my name. So your name is Kissing the Table. I like to use a placemat underneath, a trash bag, a piece of newspaper, something like that, because you will be gluing today and you don't want to get your stuff dirty. So you can either hold your paper portrait style or landscape style. I am going to hold mine portrait style today, just for fun. Now, the next thing you're going to do is, or the next thing you need, is you either need glue. You can use white glue or you can use a glue stick. And you're going to need a pair of scissors. You can also use your hands for tearing. You might need some magazines. You don't have to have magazines, but they sometimes come in handy. Or you might need some different colors of paper, some cotton balls, tissues, toilet paper. Those kind of things can come in handy for maybe a snow scene. So let's get started. First, I need to think of some sort of an idea. So let's see. I'm going to put my horizon line. My horizon line is basically the line where the sun sets behind. That's why it's called the horizon. Sometimes you've got some mountains back here. Okay, maybe I'm going to have a river. And watch this, okay? This is really smart. And you might need to know this when you go to draw rivers or roads. I start in the same exact spot, but when I come down here, I'm going to get a lot bigger. It's going to kind of look like a triangle. So I'm going to follow this line, but I'm going to start to get bigger, curve bigger, 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 bigger. And look at that. So it looks like it's going back into space because it's bigger here and smaller back there. So that's just an idea. I can draw a sun in the sky if I want a sun. I'm going to draw some clouds here and a sun. Now I'm going to cover all of this up, but this is just to kind of get my idea out and so that you can see what my idea is. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is my sky. I've decided to put 4 different colors in my sky, and I can cut the paper or I can tear. Now, tearing is kind of cool because I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. When I tear towards me, you'll see that it leaves a little frazzled edge. And it's softer on the side that is facing me. When I tear away from me, okay, this edge is frazzled, but it's actually more frazzled and softer and smoother on the other side. Kind of feels furry. So I'm going to continue tearing my paper so I can glue it down. Now, I cut a bunch of papers out, or I tore a bunch of papers. Typically, when I have you do this in class, I have you tear it one at a time and glue it. Tear, glue, because of time restraints. Unfortunately, since I don't have that option right now, I'm doing all of it at once. So what I did is I did dots of glue, not lots of glue, using my white glue, and I'm going to take my finger and rub it all over. That's really important. Okay, I'm going to put my big papers down first. And if I go over top of my sun and my clouds, it's okay because I just need to kind of remember, okay, that I want a sun and clouds there. Maybe at some point I go, maybe not. I don't want a sun and clouds there. Okay, so because my sky is completely green, I don't want my sky completely green. So I'm going to put my paper on here. Now, maybe you don't have white glue. Maybe you have a glue stick. So again, you take the it off, polish it up a little bit, and I'm going to put it all over my piece of paper. Notice how I'm not putting it on my background. And I'm going to paste it down. Actually, I don't want those sharp edges because the sky doesn't have really any sharp edges. So I want everything to be a little like fuzzy looking. So I'm going to speed this up for you guys. So now the coloring of my sky is done, but I still have a lot of scraps. So I can do one of two things. I can put them into a container and save them for later, or if I know that I'm all done and I'm not going to be using them again, I can recycle them or throw them in the trash can. So that way they are out of my way and they're all cleaned up. You need to clean up as you go along. Okay, next I'm going to put a sun in the sky and I'm going to add some texture to the grass a little bit. Now the texture makes, just like the sky has texture in it right now. The texture is the papers overlaying each other. It feels a certain way. Okay, it looks fluffy. Now, it's not a good idea to wash your hands in between all of this, but if you're moving on from tearing to cutting, it might be a little bit easier for you to wash your hands in between. I just want you guys to know that it's not necessary to go washing your hands all the time. I'm going to make some swervy lines, or some wavy lines. I'm going to cut some wavy lines out for my stream. I'm going to do the stream first, I decided. That way I can overlap the grass on top of it. And I'm cutting through two papers so that I get two different values of blue. It's really important that when you use scissors that you put your fingers through the big hole at the bottom and your thumb through the top hole. It's very important to do that. It's also very important that you turn your paper, not your scissors. If you notice, my scissors face pointing this way pretty much the whole time. I never bring them back towards me. That's not safe. So let me finish this up for you. some winter scenes here and a lot of green. I think this green might look really awesome in my grass. So I'm going to add a little bit of green here. I'm going to take this green because it's far away. I'm going to see if I can add it to my mountains a little bit. So I'm going to cut something out here that kind of looks like my mountains. And there you go. I think I'll glue that on just like that. Then I'm going to continue on to the grass, and then we're going to add some white. Alright, so this is pretty good. Now I'm going to show you the stippling, the dotting technique, Pointillism. So the reason I waited for this is because I took all my big hole punches, my normal size hole punches, over to Mount Pleasant, and right now I'm at Forwood. So what you'll notice is you have like a little tooth here, and then what I call the tongue. The tooth goes right through the tongue into the bottom jaw. So I need to put my paper in between his bottom jaw and his tongue, right under his tongue, and then I push down. So if you have a hole punch, you can do this at home. If you don't, not a big deal. You can do the dabbing technique like I've showed you by tearing your paper or by cutting it. So I'm not going to do that much because, like I said, I have my teeny tiny hole punches here, and that's going to take a little while. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to place them around. You could also, I know your parents are going to love me when I say this one, if you have some glitter at home, you can also put some glitter down. That would be like pointillism. Just add a little bit of glue, and I'm going to show that in a second, and then sprinkle your little glues or your little dots on top of it. Okay? So, let's see. Sun's rays were pretty fun. Now, what about some clouds? So if you have a cotton ball, you can take your cotton ball, and you can either just pull it or you can twist it off. Another thing Mrs. Grandizio showed me, she's such an awesome person, is if you slightly tug, 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 you can get some really nice fluffy clouds that way. All right, and I'm going to take these fluffy clouds. You can also get some nice snow. So I'm going to put some dots of glue right here because I want my cloud to go over top of my sun. Okay, now I'm going to sprinkle some snow in here using my cotton ball. I can also use a tissue or a piece of toilet paper. So we're going to play around with that and see what happens. There you go. We're done. Now, remember, if this was too difficult for you,
Maybe you don't want to have the river in there, or maybe you just want to put a lake with people ice skating. You can cut out people from magazines and glue them on. So, whatever is easiest for you, but remember, the dabbing technique would be that cutting of the paper or the ripping of the paper and gluing it down.